What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is George. If you're new, I'm a capital markets professional by day, and by night I do stuff like this: create content, host a podcast, a few other things. If you saw the most recent video, you also saw that I basically decided to create one new video and put it out on YouTube, but this is only using an iPhone and basically a very normal, average setup, staying true to that. So I appreciate you following me for the second week. And, just being a part of this journey means a lot. If you did notice a slight change in the quality of the video, this is because I actually downloaded and started using this app called Filmic Pro. I'll link it in the description box. But basically, Filmic Pro is an app that really enhances your video. And I was just watching a lot of YouTubers that I follow, and everybody just kept recommending this app. I really believe it does make a difference. It actually has a lot of the features and settings that you would normally find on a DSLR camera. So hopefully you do find a bit of a difference in quality, but just be aware I'm still using an iPhone to record these videos, at least for now. The main point of this video is sharing my top tips to help you either communicate or present more effectively, especially in a virtual setting. Now, I present a lot for work. I'm in a business development role primarily, so I do a lot of things like speak on panels or just even meetings with companies. And you don't have to be a presenter or speaker to maybe leverage or take advantage of these tips. These could be used for any type of weekly team meetings, wrap-ups, whatever it is. You guys ready? All right, so the first one that we have is preparation. Now, by preparation, I don't really mean, preparing in terms of the content, knowing what's on the slides, memorizing what you're going to say, or making sure there's no errors. That's obviously a given, and hopefully you're doing that already. By preparation here, I mean, one, know the platform that you're using in and out. Right? So if you're using Zoom, make sure that you're comfortable and you're aware of all the settings, and whether it's audio, video, make sure that you're nicely set up on the platform that you're using ahead of time. And just know that across different platforms, they might have different features that aren't available across all platforms. So if you're always used to having this virtual backdrop, maybe say on a Zoom, or blurring your background on, say, Google Hangouts, if you're using one of these larger, more customized web or event platforms, they might not have those applications or capabilities. And so just make sure if your, let's say if your living room is behind you and it's not tidy, to make sure to get that straight before you log on. That's going to be super important. The other one under preparation is just to show up ahead of time. Usually, you'll get asked by event organizers to get there probably 15 minutes ahead of time. So jump on the virtual setting, make sure you're all ready to go. Everything's working smoothly. They can hear you. They can see you fine. Just to make sure there's no hiccups. Treat this like any in-person event, right? You would never show up, if you're speaking at an in-person event, you would never show up exactly on the dot. And I know it's a bit more difficult now because you can literally roll out of bed, jump on the desk, and just get going. But that's not going to result in the best or most effective presentation. The second one I have for you is effort. So by effort, here I mean really trying to put yourself in the perspective of the person watching you. So just for a second, think about all the bits and pieces that you have when it comes to things like the camera quality, the mic, the lighting. Did you put enough effort to make this a desirable thing to listen to or watch, right? If you are on the other side, basically the person watching you speak, is it something even digestible, right? And you have to be honest with yourself. And this doesn't mean splurging on Amazon and getting the best gear out there and the best lighting. This could be very affordable. Right? What I mean by this, and I'll share with you some of the things I use. So for a webcam, I'll link this as well. I use a 1080p HD Logitech Pro. It's a webcam I got not too long ago. It's affordable and it really, really boosts the quality of your videos. Trust me, you can't go wrong with that. And it's a very, very easy setup. We're not talking about putting a DSLR camera or anything like that. The other one is investing in a mic. Arguably, if you ask any YouTuber or content creator, they usually will tell you that you can get by with a little bit less of video quality, but the quality of your audio is always much more important. And so in this case, you can literally find a podcast mic on Amazon for less than $100, a full setup, even with the tripod that latches on your desk and all that good stuff. In this case, for this video, I'm using the Blue Snowball mic, and it works really well. It's portable, it's lightweight, and it kind of looks pretty cool. It gives kind of like the Frank Sinatra vibes. So I do like it. The other one here is lighting. So lighting is very key, and it's one that you might have to play around with because obviously every house is different. Every location is going to be different in relation to the lighting that you get naturally outside, but also inside. And so you're going to have to do a bit of testing beforehand. what I would suggest is literally, try to get your setup as perfect as possible, see how it looks like before, maybe do a pre-record, and then just get everything ready to go and then start presenting. In this case, for instance, you can see that I'm actually sitting next to the balcony or the window, and so I'm using these curtains to close a lot of the natural light that's coming from outside. And I'm using two different basically light stands that are facing me. So one is towards my left, one is literally right behind the camera. So light that faces you is always better than light that's coming behind you. This way you actually come out much more clear. Light is more naturally reflected, but you also don't come out darker on the frame, and that's probably the most important part. You don't want to look like you're sitting in a closet somewhere or in a cave. That's not going to do you any good. The third piece is practice. So by practice, again, not just talking about slides and all the stuff that you know, the two key points here when I say practice is practice looking at the camera lens. So naturally when you're speaking, you might, tend to either look straight or, you're going to maybe move your head depending on how comfortable you are speaking in front of a camera. Now, before I get into kind of the dynamics, just understand that it takes a bit of time. It's not as easy as it looks, and trust me, I still struggle with it personally, and it's something that it just takes time to get used to. Okay, so just be patient with it. Give yourself some slack, and maybe just over time keep reminding yourself of always stick to looking at the camera lens. It's a very subtle difference, but it does make a big impact to the way you speak, or the delivery at least of your speech. So notice now when I speak to you, I'm using an iPhone, it's on a tripod. I'm looking at the three separate cameras, right? I'm making direct eye contact. And so for you, it gives off the impression that I'm literally communicating one-on-one. Versus, look at the subtle difference. If I move my eyes from the lens and I look at, let's say, the Apple logo in this case, it's going to obviously look like I'm talking to the wall, right? I'm not necessarily looking at you. If I'm speaking via a laptop, like in this case, I want to be looking immediately at the lens, not straight ahead or to the left or to the right. That might actually convey that you're distracted, you're not engaged, you're out of focus, maybe you're a little bit nervous or insecure about presenting. You don't want to give those nonverbal cues. And then the other one is practice your posture, right? So when you're sitting at a table, maybe you have a standing desk, whatever is most comfortable, just make sure that your shoulders are kind of pinched back as much as possible. And, they might slouch sometimes, happens to me. Again, just a little reminder of getting back into good posture. Make sure your head's lifted up. And the reason here is twofold. If you're slouching down, right, and your shoulders kind of bent forward, then you're closing on your diaphragm, and it's going to be very difficult to breathe properly. And breathing is a very important part of communicating effectively. And so you can tell already that I'm stressing out just to even get a proper breath of air. And that's going to really restrict my form of communication. And so as soon as I pinch my shoulders back, my diaphragm sits at a more comfortable position. I'm able to convey things more clearly. That's the best desirable state. So practice looking at the lens and the posture. And then the final one before we get to the bonus tip is warming up. You see every great athlete do this. They have a pre-game warm-up routine, right? LeBron chalks up, throws it up, does this kind of posturing. He does like the handshakes with all his peers or teammates. He might have a stretching routine, what to eat before. It shouldn't be any different when you're speaking. And so recently I picked up this really cool app called Speako. Again, I'll link it below. They're not sponsoring it. I kind of wish they did, but maybe, we'll see. It's a great, it's basically a great warm-up presenting tool, right? So they have different exercises, different tools that you can use to warm up your vocals, to get in that right state before you go out and present. And to be honest, it's been really helping. They also have a lot of breathing techniques that have been helping as well. And once you know a few of these routines, you can also just do them on your own, right? So practice that vocal, get warmed up, and make sure you get in the right mindset before pressing, play or going live and speaking to many people attending. The final bonus tip I wanted to throw in there is, number one, always have water handy. It's always a good idea. You can tell I'm already kind of drying up as I do this. So it's always good, especially for 30-minute, 1 hour presentations, always have water handy. You never know when, you might just need to hydrate and clear up your voice. With a caveat, obviously don't drink a ton of water beforehand because that's going to cause some interruptions. You might need to go to the washroom and stuff. So it's best to keep that balanced. And the same goes with food. Personally, I find that not eating at least an hour and a half before presenting is always key. This way, my energy is kind of maintained throughout. I don't have big slips, but also my meal right before presenting isn't a massive, carb dense meal. I'm not going out there and eating, let's say, a deep dish at Giovanni's or Illuminati's. And don't get too offended, all right? I know this is a sensitive topic in Chicago, but I'm not eating a massive deep dish pizza right before I present. Now that's key because, again, I don't want to have these energy drains and dips, especially as I'm presenting, right? Or start yawning when someone else is presenting and I'm waiting. Not a good thing. Energy is super, super, super key when you're presenting, especially in a virtual setting. We all hear people get zoomed out. People are getting tired of just watching folks, talking heads. You want to keep it a little bit energetic. You want to play with your voice. You want to go up and down in tone. And so, being energetic is also very, very related to what you eat and the rest you get when you sleep and all that good stuff. So that's my bonus for you. Those are my top tips. In summary, it's preparation, effort, practice, warm up, and the bonus ones of staying hydrated and making sure you eat right before presenting. Hopefully they were helpful to you. Make sure to like this video if you found it of value, and actually comment below too if I missed anything, or if you do something else that really works for you. I'd love to see that in the comment section, and I'll see you hopefully next week. Cheers, guys.